Hey everybody, this is Chris with orbtraders.com. Going to go over the September 17th trade plan and set levels. I'm going to set the levels up live on this recording. And let's just start with the news. So I think everybody's aware it's going to be FOMC tomorrow. Just keep in mind you have the data print for the rate cut. We're likely expecting that rate cut. But then 30 minutes after, you have the press conference. So you may see some initial volatility right at the data print, but I would expect more of a move at 12:30. I could be totally wrong, but from prior FOMCs, I've seen quite a bit of folks faked out right in the first 30 minutes, and then they're wondering, what's going on? Well, that's generally when the Fed chair, JP, gets on the mic and starts answering questions during the press conference. So just keep that in mind. And then before the market, we've got some lower events, building permits, housings. An hour in, you have crude oil inventories. But really, all eyes are going to be on FOMC. I'm most likely going to be flat until 12:30. We'll see what the action looks like in the morning. We could get an orb long or orb short prior to the data print. But we'll just have to wait and see. So let's just dive into the levels. Today we had on the ES a good orb short. The box here is not the opening range. That's actually a fib draw. Opening range you can see set by this this white candle here. So if I remove this one, we see that was broken. We came down to the prior fib support zone. This fib support zone goes back to Sunday's low to Monday's RTH high. We tagged that during the RTH session, and then overnight, prior to this morning's New York session, ran two profit targets. There's two more profit targets above. Every time a fib gets hit, it doesn't necessarily mean each of these traditional TPs are going to be hit. But generally what I like to do, if one gets hit and we retrace back down, I'm going to mark out a new fib support zone. So I'm going to bring this level up. We're going to go to 66.9675. And we'll keep that same anchor down at that low of 66.41 3/4. So I will also just leave this fib zone here since I'm not going to carry it over to the next day. Let's take off these studies though, and then just update our levels. So I'm just going to make sure that I have this indicated clearly for the opening range for today's action, and then start moving the prior day levels. So for New York's high, 66.88 1/4, that was right at the open. And then for the low, activate the prior day low and bring that down to 6,661 1/4. Well, we'll go ahead and of course move the overnight open somewhere in this range, and then we'll adjust that at the market open. There was a fair value gap also set. If you pull back to the 30-minute time frame and just look at the first 30 minutes of action today. And to draw this properly, what you want to do is take the low of the prior candle, the high of the candle after the mid point where you have your pore structure, and then you can extend this over to tomorrow. I'm just going to go with a darker color since that actually, no, sorry. I'm going with a darker gray color there. That is just for the fib zone. So the low was 66.8275, and the high of this candle, 66.75. And then the other notion you could look at is a potential fib short. That fib short technically lines up inside or pretty much overlaps that fair value gap. And if you have resistance in this area and we start breaking down, I would be targeting the negative 23.6. This is the fib TP1 at 66.52. If you get down to 52, you're likely to see 50 hit in a lot of occasions. You go to those round hole numbers. Below that is 66.39 and then 66.15s. So that should do it for the ES. We got a prior day high, prior day low. We know our Sunday open, and if you want to go ahead and start tagging your weekly lows, you have a weekly low set Sunday. Sunday down at that fib draw. I'm not going to draw that up yet. I'm just going to keep my Sunday open down here. Moving over to. Actually, I apologize. Before we keep going, let's just look here. Prior day high, prior all-time high and last week high is still below us. So the current all-time high, technically for RTH session, would be right here. Prior day high plus all-time high for RTH. And then your weekly high, you can call this the all-time high overnight plus current week high, and that's set overnight, so I use orange O for overnight, orange, just kind of keep it easy in my head. So we've got those two levels set. Now let's move over to the NQ, take off these studies so it's a little easier to see, and let's actually open up the extended session. Okay, so right off the bat, the Monday's RTH low to the weekly high set overnight has set a fib support zone below between 557s down to 450s, which is where we are pretty much ranging now after we had that orb short today. If we break out and we hold this 61 and we break out above, TPs are above at 702s, 792s, and then 945s. So I'm going to keep this level on here just as a heads up to myself. I'm also going to be looking at the current week low to the current week high. And let me just hide this for now. I guess we have to remove the whole draw and then we can add it later. This current week low to current week high, both set during overnight hours, sets a fib zone below at 24,520s down to 24,440s. Let me go ahead and just extend this draw over. It's a pretty wide fib zone, but with the way that the NQ moves, it's in reality not that crazy to consider as a area that we range, hold, and then go up towards the first TP at 725s, 850s, and then even further up to 25,000. I'm going to take these off too. I was just trying to note something in the chat room today, what some TPs were off the orb short. So we'll go ahead and update. I'm going to actually remove these levels. I like to draw these squares so I can keep in my head, okay, this is a fib short, or sorry, a fib long support zone. So is this. It kind of just removes some of those lines to make it easier. So we'll move the overnight open once it opens up. And the prior day high, we'll mark this up here. Prior day low, we'll also move this over here. And let's just zoom in and update some of these levels here. So let's start out with the all-time high set overnight, current week high. That's above during overnight session. Pre-market from today at 24,647 and a quarter. And then our low of the day looks like 25. I think it was at 24,499 and 25 cents. And our high of the day $24,600 and a quarter, or sorry, half, 2 quarters. So we got our prior day high, prior day low. This is going into Wednesday. Excuse me. I'm going to take off this fib target since we already cleared that. Keep Sundays open on there as well. Excuse me. So we've got the all-time high set for the overnight, but we also want to make sure we know this is the all-time high RTH session set today on the NQ at 24,600 half, and then you have your RTH or your overnight, sorry, your ATH overnight current week high above. So going into tomorrow, you've got the prior day high set, prior day low. We'll adjust overnight open. We've got our all-time high set up there. Noting a 30-minute fair value gap high is here. So if you zoom out and turn on the 30-minute view, you'll see from the high of this candle to the low of this candle, we have not retraced. That was from Monday's action. So that is still relevant, and that is not a fib zone, so I'm going to change this color up just so I know what I'm looking at going into tomorrow. We've got this fib zone right above, but we've also got the fair value gap here. And then if you want to consider looking at how we broke this range here, and you could take the high of that and look for a potential fib draw, or if you even started at the RTH high and you go down to the RTH low, here is your fib support zone for a short, and so that would be up here, and I would just make this a reddish color to indicate in my head, okay, this is a fib support zone for shorts with TPs below at 24,475, 24,436, and 24,370s. Obviously, these are hypotheticals. We're just speculating if price does go there. A lot of the times, Fibonacci's are respected. That's why they're a tool in every trading platform. So that's why I like to draw these. If you are breaking above this zone, I would be looking for 15-minute closes, consecutive closes, and to really make sure that the draw is fully invalidated. I've updated my fibs to include the 78.6. It's a very valid level. I'm actually going to change this. I want to go with like a different colors. It's just my own preference here. Just so I can see if this level actually breaks, I'm definitely clearing and removing this draw and not continuing that to go forward. So we'll see what the overnight action brings us. If we just do a full accumulation during Asian session and maybe manipulate and go break the high or low during the London session, breaking the high or low of the prior Asian session, and then we'll see what happens during the New York session. But keep in mind, we've got FOMC. We just put FOMC here. I'll go with the yellow line right at 12. And then I'm just going to duplicate that. And then we're going to edit for the conference at 12:30. We'll put this one at the top. And we'll put this also at the top. So just keep that in mind. Hope you guys are doing well, and don't forget to check your internals like we had today, a very traditional orb short where our volatilities were going up, and we had a lot of prints below the zero line, a lot of red underneath, a lot of action staying below for further confirming the short. And I went with a 5-minute orb short today instead of the normal 15 that I usually like to go with. I saw how much of a bullish evening or overnight session that we had, and in my head we were going to look to target the liquidity levels that those sessions set, and sure enough we cleared both of those out during the New York session. And on the ES, normally I am still, if I'm going to trade the ES, I'm still looking at the 15-minute orb. But if you look back and play the 5-minute orb, you had a clear, to show this first white candle up here, we had a clear wick showing that the buyers were failing, and then a strong candle selling right afterwards, which would have been a great indicator, especially if you look at the VIX, how the behavior is rising and it's increasing, and finally it breaks above, while at the same time you have multiple touches on the zero line on the tick, and then you finally break below and you go and tag the extreme zones further proving that shorts had the day. All right, so that's going to wrap it up. Sorry this video got a little bit long here, but hope you guys had a good day trading. If you have any questions and you're new watching this on YouTube, go to orbtraders.com. You can join the Discord. It's free for the rest of this year. There's going to be free services continuing forever. Right now, I'm just thinking Friday's going into 2026. That's where you can get all the trade plans and the levels and the charts for free. I may even open that up to other days throughout the week, but there will be a paid plan along with some coaching if you are interested in getting on a Zoom call and just going over any questions you might have. The sessions are going to be tailored to you, not to me or what I know. I'm going to show you my strategy if that's what you want to see during the coaching session, more in depth, or if you want to focus on your struggles and questions you have. Those will start in January, so just a heads up on that. But if you're new, join the Discord. Go through ORB Traders, ORBtraders.com. Go to the Get Started and Join links that will bring you over to WAP. WAP is just the marketplace where there's a lot of opening range breakout and other trading communities out there. So I encourage you to check out all of them. By no means is this the best holy grail trading community Discord, but it is a fairly cheap one with quite a bit of information that you can absorb for free before you go out and spend any money. So I'd encourage you to exhaust whatever free resources you have before you put your own capital in. And then you can join the Discord and get access to the there's a free execution checklist I have. I'm just pulling it up here. That's why it's taking me a second to formulate my sentence. And then you also have the crash course. You can check that out also on the YouTube page. And then there's some guides, and then of course the free trade plan that I'm putting out along with some levels. And then I'll recap and update throughout the day what I'm seeing, what are potential targets, and of course our weekly news events. And like I said, FOMC is where all the eyes are at today. And then if you are interested in streaming, you can jump in the community stream your own screen, share your P&L, share your certs. And my only preference, if you're going to share your P&L, don't just throw a dollar number out there with nothing else. Add some context, break down what you actually saw in the market, what trade you took, why you took it. That helps others understand instead of just seeing a dollar number. Nobody's going to learn off of that other than, oh, he had a positive trade. But yeah, that's my spiel for today. Have a good night, guys. Take care.